What do you get when you take three crazy and opinionated real guys, real friends, butting heads over different issues? A night at a gay bathhouse, you say? Close. This is the Almost Tomorrow Show. From world events to crazy shit on the internet, and definitely reacting to Karens.
Could I speak to the manager, please?
It's loud and in your face, but we have fun. Welcome to the Almost Tomorrow Show. And here are your hosts, Jamie Flores, Mo Wadan, and Nathan Collins.
Welcome to another episode of the Almost Tomorrow Show. I'm Jamie Flores, and as always, sitting here with my homies Mo and Nate. How you guys doing today?
Oh,
Hey.
what's going on? We have a show today. Let me just tell you that.
So today we have Veronica Meek, a member of the Lakeview Paranormal. I know I'm interested. The boys are interested. Tell us a little bit about how long you've been involved in the paranormal.
Well, been into the paranormal my entire life. Been a part of Lakeview Paranormal for the past 6 years, and love it. Absolutely love it.
That's awesome. We, the three of us, have been talking about this all week. We've been excited to get into this field because, you know, we've all had our own experiences in this field, but never really had somebody who works in the field come and actually talk to us. So,
Dare I say a professional?
Oh,
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely
Like,
professional.
That's freaking awesome.
Yay.
so tell us a little bit about Lakeview and how you got involved with them.
Okay, well, Lakeview Paranormal has been around probably, maybe 12, 13 years, and several years before they asked me to join. What actually happened is through my job, I met a couple people that were on the team, and they invited me to, through discussions and talks that we had off and on at work, they invited me to go on a couple of investigations with them because they found my interest in the paranormal as well. So I did, and after a few investigations, they liked my approach. They wanted to ask me to join the team. So on my birthday in
What a birthday present.
For real.
in 2015, they made me a cake, and then, we were supposed to be having a quote unquote meeting, and basically they, gave me my t-shirt, my hoodie, and said, "Will you join?"
Oh,
And of
that's
course,
pretty cool. Good old
I was
initiation.
thrilled. Yeah, I was thrilled. So I joined, and we've been to a lot of different places and gotten some good evidence. If you haven't had a chance to go to the website or to our Facebook page, we have some evidence out there.
Absolutely.
So,
Plug the website.
Take it for what it is. It's www.lakeviewparanormal.com, and it's Lakeview Paranormal, all one word, on Facebook as well. If you want to go to our Facebook page,
Great.
we do a lot, but
We'll link
with
the
COVID,
Yeah.
we had a little bit of a slowdown. So we're trying to get back up to speed and getting going to haunted locations again.
Well, yeah, that's kind of every occupation right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Slow down because of
Slowing down
COVID,
because of COVID, yeah.
I just think it's going to be really difficult to get all these ghosts and demons fully vaccinated and back to work. But I'm sure
I don't think they have to terribly worry about dying.
hey, we're going to take it one jab at a time.
One
you
jab.
know?
Oh man.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. They're kind of anti-vax.
Oh,
okay.
shame on them.
So let's take it here. So what was your favorite location to check out?
I would have to say my favorite location is the Hotel Conneaut.
Mm.
A lot of stuff happened there. It's very historic, and that was the first personal experience that I've ever had with the team.
So
It was
this your very first time out with the team?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh wow, so that had
Yes.
to be great. You know?
It was awesome.
Kind
It
of
was
being
awesome.
skeptical of the team, like, hey, are they
Well, you're
good?
getting
Like
a
you
good
don't
fit,
know,
you're feeling each other out, trying to see if this is a good match, or what this is
Yeah.
all about.
That sealed
Yeah,
the deal.
absolutely. Absolutely. And, they told me that I just like fit right in with the group,
That's awesome.
because we're all kind of, I don't know how to say, we're a little bit raunchy.
Oh, you're fitting right in with this
yes,
group.
you are. Yes, you
Yeah,
are.
we are a little bit,
I got a
how to-
question for Veronica. Can you give us a little bit of historical background to this location that you're exploring here?
The Hotel Conneaut is very, very old. It started off as like a resort kind of thing. It was a place for people to gather, for people to come out in the summer because, there's a lake right there and there was a beach and there was a dance hall. So if you were a little more averse to city life or wanted to get out into the country setting, this was the place to go.
Wow.
People would have weddings there. And then later on in years, they ended up building an amusement park adjacent to the hotel, which operated for quite a long time. Actually, when my kids were small, we took them there. It was a nice old park. We did not stay at the hotel. We just, went as a drive, did the amusement park and drove home.
Wow.
Had no idea about the haunted history of the hotel. So when we went in and, we approached this, one of the people that actually worked for the owners of the hotel was a member of our group. And she got us in there to do an investigation. And this was before they had fully renovated and reopened to the public, which they are now. So we personally had like 12 of us. This was the run of the place. And so the first thing that happened is several of our members were sitting in the lounge, which is like a bar area on the first floor, in the dark with some equipment running and talking and just being nonchalant. And a cabinet door opened on its own behind the bar.
Just on its own?
Yeah, on its own.
Wow.
And we're like, okay, all right. Who set that up? Who's pulling the strings? And
right.
Of course, nothing. And the kind of latch on the door was the kind that you actually have to open up. So you have to turn it counterclockwise out of where it sits. You're not going to open it without moving that latch. So it unlatched itself and opened up. So we did a close of the door, a relatching, if you will. And this happened several times again. And then it happened on different doors. So this was kind of bizarre, when you get that quick actual evidence, it's wonderful. This is like holy grail stuff for us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Getting it on film too. Yeah.
So, we kind of went off into our separate little, duos. You usually go off in groups of 2 or 3.
Okay.
I had my daughter with me at the time, my youngest daughter, who was, I believe, 16 at the time. And we went up on, I believe, the 3rd floor, and we were walking up and down the hallway and just, talking into the voice recorder to see, if we could get any kind of response. And we both stopped, and she looked at me and I looked at her, and I'm like, do you smell that? We were smelling smoke. And I'm like, well, okay, let's look and turn the flashlights on, see if we see anything. And there was no smoke or anything. We didn't hear any alarms. Nobody tried to, I'm like, well, I don't think it's a real fire, but we're getting a smell of smoke. There had been a point in time where that hotel had a fire.
So, Veronica, is this typical of the sites that you survey with your group, or is this kind of exceptional in the amount of activity?
This is kind of exceptional because contrary to what you see on shows on TV that are going to remain nameless, not every question gets a response. They don't come out on cue. Just because you're there on any given day doesn't mean it's going to have action that day for you. It can be dead silent and nothing. And then you come back in a month or two and you've got activity, you know, I can't tell you how many hours of dead tape we listen to. Literally, no
Yeah.
pun, for sure. I mean, you have a show, you got to keep it interesting for the viewers. I understand that. So, a lot of places that we go to, we don't get much or not too much. We might get a couple of responses, but you got to figure, the dead are people just like us, and if somebody keeps coming into my house asking me the same question 100 times, I'm going to be like, oh my God,
I'm
we
gonna
really
answer
stop.
this. So
Yeah.
you said that they since reopened.
Yes, they are open for people to come and stay at the hotel. They've done weddings there, and receptions. So they've really, really done a nice job with renovation on it. It's a beautiful old girl, that hotel.
So
She really
since
is.
since the reopening, have they had any activity, any sightings since then?
They've still had some activity, and in general, you'll find when you're renovating a place, that's usually will amp things up or kick it up, either because they sense more energy and there's people there and they want to come out, tell their story, be heard, whatever it is, or they don't like what you're doing, or maybe they do, as far as renovating. But they kept it true to the original place. So they've not done anything major that would have drastically
They
changed
just
the
dressed
layout.
it up.
Now, Veronica, I have a question. Now, you said you've been with Lakeview Paranormal for the past 6 years, but you
Yes.
said you have experienced this for a lot. You've experienced the paranormal for a lot longer.
That is true.
What was some of your first experiences when it comes to the paranormal?
When I was about 8 or 9 years old, so it was just the old gentleman living up there. But shortly after the old woman passed away, I'm in my room, it's nighttime, and I just feel like the room somehow changed. Something shifted. It's hard to explain, but when you're more sensitive to it, you'll pick it up. It's just something about the air gets thicker or a little bit different, or a little bit charred. I heard what I thought was my sister shuffling in her slippers coming into my room for some reason. Well, it wasn't her. Right? Nobody walked in. I just heard the shuffling. They stopped. The footsteps stopped by my bed, and I heard like breathing, a little bit of labored breathing, and
Man.
kind of got a little bit panicked. I'm a
Yeah.
kid. I don't know what this is.
I would too.
I get panicked right now.
I'm listening to it and I'm just putting myself in that situation.
Yeah.
That is, it's scary. Now,
So frozen for a minute,
Yeah.
but then my first instinct is get the heck out of the room, So I fly out of my room. I fly into my sister's room, and I'm waking her up and telling her, and she's like 7 years older than me. So she's a teenager, and she's like, just shut up, go back to bed. You had a bad dream. It was nothing. So she discounted it as, a bad dream, but I know I was awake, and I know what I felt and heard.
I believe it. I believe what you experienced was for real.
It
For
was
sure.
very
And
real. Yeah.
Something inside you seems like you have like an open door. Like you're one of the few people out here that can experience these things.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
do you see that as a curse or a blessing?
I think of it in terms of a blessing, because when I was a kid, it was a curse. But
Yeah.
now, when you can sense things as an adult, to me, I like being able to have that gift, because I can tell, if there's something in an area, I can let people know that I'm sensing something in this area. Not sure if it's good or bad, but it's off, something, until
okay.
I get further detail, or they want to make themselves known. A lot of times you don't know if it's good or bad until it's just there. It just is.
Yeah.
So I err on the side of caution, but I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt that it's positive.
I wanted to see if we can get your perspective on a couple of stories that we have that I know Mo's experienced, that I've experienced stuff. I don't know if you've experienced stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Although
Well,
my stuff is more, dreams and whatnot, rather than like waking experiences.
so like subconscious.
Yeah, well, I mean, my grandparents have visited me after their deaths in my dreams.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
yeah, some weird coincidental things, happened.
After the dream.
After the dream. Yeah. Like, just real quick, my granddad used to love to do stuff for us grandkids, but as he got older, he became less and less physically able to help out. And so the way that he would help would be by gifting us, money and stuff. That was his way. When he died, that kind of stopped, obviously, But he visited me in a dream, and after catching up, he wrote me a check and handed it to me, as a gesture. And, I woke up and I didn't think much about it, but a couple days later, I got a check addressed from him. They found it and
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
gifted it to me. I was just like, my mind was blown. Just absolutely blown away.
That's deep. Like, that's super
Yeah.
deep, man.
Well,
Wow.
that's a good one too. I mean, that's somebody from the
It's
other
like
side that's
Reaching out.
Reaching out
and
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
out,
Yeah, that's
Oh,
awesome.
wow.
You're listening to the Almost Tomorrow Show. And now your hosts, Jamie Flores, Mo Wadan, and Nathan Collins.
So, Mo, you got one?
Yeah. I mean, I have a couple, but I'm gonna keep it short and simple because one of the best ones to me that it still triggers me to this day is when I was in high school. I went to high school in one of the suburbs of Cleveland in North Ridgeville.
Mm-hmm.
And there was actually a story that everybody would talk about. It was one like a myth that the haunted place around here is Gore Orphanage. So I like Googled and I tried to find out where it was. And one time it was me and my friend. We took a ride. We were like, let's go check this out, right? It was actually me, my friend, and my brother. We took cameras with us. And when we were going over there, we had a full tank of gas. When we got close to the area of it, all of a sudden it was crazy because it was like what you see and experience when you're watching a horror film or a scary movie, because it got foggy, right? We got close to it and it just like fog just came out of nowhere, right? And we're driving and we're like, whoa, what? Like that's weird, It just got foggy, and then our fuel tank went on E, and we're like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" Like it was stopping us from reaching over there, and
Wow.
so we kept on, and we actually got pulled over by the police. The police officer, there was like another sign was trying to stop us. He goes, "Oh, he already knew." He goes, "You guys are trying to go to Gore Orphanage, aren't you?"
Wow.
I'm like, yeah. He goes, "Well, you're not allowed. You got to turn back. You got to go back home." So we did. We actually we busted a U-turn and we went back, and we went over this little bridge, and all of a sudden our tank went back to full, just like that. And then we were like, we stopped, and we're teenagers at the time, so we're all like,
Freaking out.
"Oh, this is crazy!" And we were like, "Okay, the cop is not going to be over there. Hey, we have to. We came all the way over here. We have to go." So we busted a U-turn. We went back. Same thing. The fog came back, and the tank went back on E. But we kept on going. Finally, we parked on the side of the road, and it was kind of more like in the woods. Now, the place is actually not there anymore, but the foundation of the Gore Orphanage was. Now, this place was an orphanage that was burnt down, and a whole bunch of children died. That was the backstory. Of this place. So all we seen was like brick foundation of the building. And so we're there and we're just like, we're taking pictures. We didn't actually experience anything, so we're just there, just taking pictures and all. When we get back home and we looked at the pictures, when we were there, all the pictures had like glowing globes.
Orbs.
Glowing orbs.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It was crazy.
Wow.
We
Wow.
didn't see it, but we only seen it afterwards in the picture. And I was like, I can't believe we just experienced that, because that's like the
Spirits and stuff.
yeah, because
Wow.
usually you see the orbs on as proof of the paranormal, and I say,
Right.
That's BS. Like
Yeah.
that's BS.
Yeah.
But then to actually experience it yourself, and it's never happened before. I can use the same camera now, and I wouldn't have the orbs.
Was
Right.
it during the day or was it at night?
Oh, it was night. It was
nighttime?
pitch. It was pitch black.
Hmm.
It was during the fall, but there was a lot of things that was weird that we've never experienced. To this day, I still talk to my buddy about it, and we talk about how crazy that was. And there's no doubt in my mind that was I've experienced the paranormal.
Wow.
You know.
So Veronica, what's your take on that? Like, can you tell us like what your thought about those orbs are? Like, what are they and what do they represent?
I believe, having not seen them live with my own eyes, but gathering them as evidence and seeing them after the fact, much like you did, Mo, I believe that is the energy of the spirit of whatever that is, whatever person, child, and you said you saw quite a few of them.
Yes.
It
yes,
definitely could be them kind of hanging around, visiting the last place they were, maybe getting together for that final game of stickball. You don't know what their thought is.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have an experience that I want to get your take on because they happened. There's two separate incidents that happened, but it was all in the same house.
Okay.
I went to go stay with my mom for a while, and she had this room upstairs. So she had her room, my sister had her room. There was this spare room on the side. So I was like, I'm just going to take that over. And I literally had an air mattress, a computer, a dresser, a box full of DVDs, plugged it in there. So I know everybody's dead sleep at this time. So I go into the room and I just throw something on the computer to watch, and I'm just laying on the mattress, and I just hear dum 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 on the door so hard, like the bedroom door. And I'm like, what the, I'm thinking my mom got sick or somebody got hurt or something, So I spring up, I open the door, and everybody's still dead sleep. And I'm like, what the hell, right? So I go to lay back down. Literally, I put the blanket over, and I'm just like, dum 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 dum. It's like, fuck, all right, I open the door again, nobody. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go to sleep. Like, I felt something right there. I just didn't feel good. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go lay down. I laid down, and the box of DVDs that was on the dresser literally got thrown on me. So I was just like, you know what? I turned the computer off. I put the blanket over my head, and I just went to bed. Shit started getting thrown in the room. And I was 19 at this time. I got my ass up, grabbed my air mattress, went to my mom's room,
That was an aggressive
and laid
spirit.
down. Oh,
Yeah.
After me and that girl split, I ended up moving into the house, but I was like, I can't stay in that room. I'm going to take the basement. So I'm in the basement. You've been at the house.
Yeah.
So in the corner was like a little drain hole that was on the far end from my room, like where I slept. You can clearly see it. So I was laying down on my futon, and I just happened to turn over towards the TV, and I open my eyes, and I see a fucking guy like from the 40s. Pants, like I can tell you exactly what he was wearing, the haircut he had, and he was standing facing the wall in the corner of the room. Was it
clear?
It was clear as shit.
Yeah.
Like I saw his clothes. I seen exactly. I could tell you what hairstyle he had, and he turned around and looked at me, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I just closed my eyes, turned over, and I just let it go.
Wow. So how'd you know?
Defense is to close your eyes. Like it's not there.
I'm not
It's
gonna
not
fuck
there.
with it.
It's
I'm
not
not gonna antagonize it.
How'd you know it wasn't some guy standing there in your room?
He was pale as shit. Like I looked, and he turned around and looked me in my eyes, and I was like, I'm not gonna let you attack me, So I'm just like, hey, I'll have my own personal barrier. I will move once you start doing something,
Right.
But
It would be interesting if you could get into the history of the place. I know you said it was a former, like a military base or barracks or residence, but if you could get the history and try to see if anything specific happened in the area, like if someone was, attacked, killed, if there was any violence at all in that specific location where you guys lived. That would be something, because it could either be something residual, like on a tape loop that just keeps repeating, or it could be something trying to let you know they need help to move on.
I mean,
And that may be their way of getting attention, but it
getting
seems
stuff
very
thrown
violent.
at me. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That was probably the most scariest because I'm telling my mom. My mom's like, "Why the hell are you in my room?" You know, like
Right.
she was completely oblivious to it. Like
Sure.
they didn't hear
Sure.
anything. Like they were knocked out to the world, man. And I'm over here
Did-
freaking out, sleeping on my mom's
Wow.
floor on the air
No.
mattress.
Did your mom or your sister have any experiences?
When my mom was in the room and she saw how my dad got thrown down the stairs.
Yeah.
And she was
Yeah.
like, yo, like, because he told her somebody who kicked me. You know, like he
Right,
asked, like,
right.
who kicked me? She was like, yo, I'm sitting on the bed. My sister was in the room. There was nobody around her.
Yeah.
And we had
This-
like ankle biter dogs. So it wasn't like,
Yeah.
the dog bumped him.
Wow.
This kind of seems like maybe they were more antagonized by the males, or they wanted to attack the males for some reason
I don't know.
in the house. You just, you can speculate on a lot of things,
Yeah.
but without knowing the history. But it's definitely very real when you get touched and you have more than just I'm hearing a voice or footsteps. That's pretty intense, and that takes a lot of energy for a spirit to manifest that.
Like I saw this guy. Like
Yeah.
when I looked
Yeah.
over, I saw his entire frame. Like
That's
from shoes to
crazy.
pants, shirt, everything. And then he turned around and looked. And I know I wasn't like half asleep or anything. I was literally
Right.
just laying down. So like
Yeah, you were definitely wide awake.
I looked
Wow.
over and was like, oh shit. And then when he turned around, I was expecting to see something like bloody or whatever. It was just a dude, it wasn't like
Right.
scary,
So,
but his presence was like super scary to me.
Veronica, earlier you mentioned something about, possibly having these responses be on a loop or, repeating. Or,
Yeah.
some other types of manifestations like needing or looking for help to move on. What did you
Yes.
mean by those? Can you kind of go into that a little bit more?
Sure. Sometimes when you have the same activity recurring in a place, like you may see someone walking up a hallway going into a room, and you may hear a voice or a footstep, and this is the only activity that is happening. That could be more of a residual thing where they're kind of it just that energy just kind of imprints on the
Mhm.
environment and it replays. We don't know if it's just the energy itself or if it's an actual spirit
Wow.
that's just redoing that, repetitive thing they did day after day. Like when I come in from work, I sit down here and I go into that room, and that's my day. So that piece of the loop may just be playing and playing and playing. It may not have any conscious intent.
Yeah.
On the other hand, something that's a lot more violent than what Jamie experienced, something like that, they could be trying to get someone's attention, either to resolve the issue. Maybe they had something happen. There was a suicide. Maybe they're stuck in their death state and they can't move on. And they're just trying to get somebody to listen to them. And if the subtle things aren't working, they're going to bang on your door. They're going to toss somebody down the stairs like, hey, I
Wow.
need your help. I need some attention. And then there's also the third thing, which we don't want to think about, but it could be something malevolent or something
Demonic.
evil.
Mhm.
So you have to be careful. You have to tread a little lighter with that than you do just the classic voices, footsteps kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Well,
Yeah.
many people would really be concerned with the possibility of being possessed or haunted, by
Mhm.
these things. And, just like, how do you protect against that? You specifically in your group, when you go to these haunted places, how do you, what precautions do you take?
Okay, well, what we do, before we go in anywhere, especially if it's known for any malevolent or possibly dark, bad activity, we always invoke the help of Michael the Archangel. We say the prayer. We may say different prayers, and we ask, the light and the universe and God, if you will, to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
If it's specifically, pretty dark there, we might like sage ourselves before we go in as kind of a protection. When we are done, we also tell it, whatever it is, you are not welcome to come with us. You cannot attach to any of us. You have to stay here, and we'll sage and we'll put salt across doorways to keep whatever it is there at bay away from us. And routinely in our homes, we do the same thing. Like I'll go through about once a month and I'll sage the entire place, and sea salt at the doors. It's saying various prayers and things to protect my environment from anything that could potentially attach or come along for the ride, as it were.
So how effective are like stereotypical religious icons like crosses, like holy water, etc.? Are they like a Hollywood myth?
No, it's not. It's definitely not a myth. And if you've ever heard any kind of a documentary or anything from someone who is an exorcist in the Catholic Church, I have met one in my life when I was very young, in school, and I went to a Catholic school, and he had some interesting stories, needless to say. But the belief and the power comes from the belief in that religious icon. And evil itself does not like anything that has to do with the good or the light or God. So whatever you have, depending on your faith, be it a crucifix, a cross, any kind of religious icon. For others, in the Hindu religion or the Buddhist religion, it could be something different than what we invoke or what we use, but it has strength to them, and that gives them the strength to banish or refuse entry to the bad.
So basically, the power of faith in God is what gives the power to the item against
Absolutely.
the demonic.
Absolutely.
Demons.
Because if you don't have the faith and you're just, you go to the store and you
That's
buy
awesome.
a cross, but you're not a religious or a person that was raised in that faith, you don't really understand the power that it has or that it can have, it's probably not going to do anything for you. So that faith is what drives that, what gives it its power to work for you.
My rosary ain't about to do nothing for me. I'm an atheist to the core, so
yeah, but we never like poo-poo what people believe in.
Oh, for sure.
Your belief system, your religion, your spirituality is very personal to you, and what works for you may not work for me or Jamie. So you have to take it, as you go with these things. But I do believe definitely, that evil does exist in the world, that there is a devil, there are demons, there are things that we don't fully understand. And to handle them with care and not antagonize is one thing. But also not to try to do anything like an exorcism on your own, because you're just gonna piss it off.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm
You're
doing.
not trained. You don't know how to do this.
The power of Christ compels you, and then
So-
I'm over there. Just,
Right.
Who would you go to? Who would you go to then for that kind of help?
I would go to your spiritual leaders in your faith for exorcisms. Even cross other faiths will come to the Catholic Church and solicit the help of an exorcism. And it's very it's hard to get. I mean, it's not something they're just going to say, yeah, we'll send Father Joe out and he'll take care of it, kind of thing. It's
exorcisms on discount.
No, it's definitely got to be something that they deem this is the only way these people are going to get help, is if we help them. And it's for sure, it's got to pass certain criteria, certain tests to be considered something that they would do an exorcism for. It's not entered into lightly.
So what's next for you then, Veronica, and Lakeview Paranormal? What's coming down the pipeline that people can look forward to joining you with?
Yeah, hopefully there's a couple of places that we are looking at and currently trying to get, which I can't name because we don't have permission yet
Okay.
to go into the places. But
No
But I mean,
definitely
as far as bucket list stuff, like what are some of the places that you guys want to check out?
I think we would love to go to. There's a prison in, I want to say it's in Pennsylvania or West Virginia.
Yeah.
Eastern State. We want to go there. We would all love to do the Lizzie Borden house, which, interestingly enough, I'm going to put in a shameless plug for my daughter who works for U.S. Ghost Adventures.
Oh,
yay.
Okay.
And their owners have recently purchased the Lizzie Borden house. So I'm hoping that if we can all agree on a road trip, that we can get up there and do an investigation at the Lizzie Borden house. That would be like amazing for me.
That's actually pretty. I seen that you guys did like the Mansfield Reformatory.
Yeah, we've done that. We've done the Mark Twain house. We did the we did the ships and the submarine in Buffalo. That was pretty amazing.
Have you touched the Franklin Castle at all?
Yes, we did. And we were not permitted to release any evidence on our website or our Facebook page because we kind of had to sign it for the owners.
Wow.
All right.
But and then we find out later on that other people were allowed because, they have shows and they can pay money. So
you had to sign an NDA on that?
We did, yeah. We weren't allowed to. We could talk about it, but we couldn't say this is where we got it.
That's what we're doing. We're talking about it.
Hold on.
Talking about it. It's a pretty cool place. It is an awesome place. It really is.
For those who don't know the Franklin Castle, it's a small castle. It's castle-shaped house on Franklin Avenue, literally in the middle of the west side of Cleveland.
It's in our backyard. Yep. That's awesome. That's why I would love to hear more about this.
Yeah, the Franklin Castle has definitely been an iconic site on the west side of Cleveland my entire life.
For years.
I'm probably going to get myself in trouble, but I've actually broken in that place when I was a teenager. You know what I mean? Like it was an abandoned place, and we actually got in that place because I didn't have no experience or nothing, but it was still, it was something like, it was scary, like, ooh.
It was a prohibition house, and there was a
there was a lot of stuff happening. It was definitely a prohibition place.
Yeah.
The current owners, unless they've resold it, one of them is an artist, and the husband, I'm trying to think of what the husband does, but they are from overseas. I believe England, and they live there most of the time, but they're renovating it. And they currently, when they come into town, they will stay up on the top level.
Cool.
So they stay in the house.
Yeah, from my understanding, it's fully renovated now.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
So even with that, like, would you, knowing how much people have, said that they've been hit with stuff and pushed downstairs and all that stuff that's in there, people are still willing to go.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sleep there.
So is it true? Is it true that, did you guys actually have and get real nice evidence?
We had some things. We had a good flashlight session, interactive yes and no kind of things. We had some voices and things on our recorders, nothing too personal that we experienced ourselves.
Okay.
But again, it can be a very active place. I saw a show where someone said, "Oh yeah, they found human bones in the wall." Not true.
Gosh.
Wow.
Not true.
Not true.
Not true. They found bones in the wall, but they were animal bones. So
Still
it could have
spooky.
been, a cat got in there and got stuck. Yeah, not human bones. Okay. So that's not true. That was sensationalized for the story.
So why do you think you're not allowed to release the evidence?
We can post evidence, but we can't say it was from there because they didn't, at that point when we went there, they didn't want the publicity. They didn't want people trying to break in because they were in the middle of the renovations.
Oh, it makes sense.
And they have a person on site, like a caretaker that lives there too. But yeah, they just wouldn't. They're like, nope, you can't say it's Franklin Castle. Nope.
Yeah. And just to
That's-
clarify, when I broke in when I was a teenager, it's past the statute of limitations. And
Yeah. Okay.
it was
I'm not gonna get in
it was
trouble.
like 20 years ago, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know. Got to double check
just
the
just in
statute of
case any
limitations
law
here.
enforcement is listening
Yeah,
to
no.
this, you know.
I'm not implicating
And
myself.
spell that name again.
Right. And your mother's maiden name? It's like, oh.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend it if anyone is listening and they want to go to a
Yes,
place.
no,
Definitely seek out who owns the place or who's responsible for it. If there's a fee that goes towards renovating, pay the fee, do it the right way, the legal
Yes,
way.
I
Don't
agree.
break in, don't sneak in. It's just not.
You'll just have a
It's not
better
good.
time that way,
Better
right?
experience. Yeah, try to collect
Yeah,
it
yeah,
the right way.
you'll be more scared than anything because you're doing something wrong. So
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we appreciate the time. Like, we
Yes.
appreciate the conversation and bringing
Oh,
us a
sure.
little bit more of the
It's been
the
an honor.
paranormal, for sure.
anytime,
And sharing your unique
anytime.
experiences. Thanks to Veronica. I mean, really.
Oh, you're
great stuff.
welcome.
So,
Thanks for
any
asking me.
plugs? Anything else that you want to share with
No,
the guests?
just U.S. Ghost Adventures. Go to them on their site. They're on Instagram as well, and Lakeview Paranormal for sure. If you have anything that's going on in your house, in your property, and you want help, you can contact us there.
There we go.
All right.
That's nice.
Thank you. We appreciate the time. We appreciate the conversation. Like I said, with everyone, thank this Veronica Meeks. Please give
Thank
her a
you.
round of hand.
Yes.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thanks,
coming on the
guys.
show, Veronica.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good day.
Thank
You
You
too.
too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Almost Tomorrow Show with Jamie, Mo, and Nathan. Three crazy sons of bitches raising hell. Hey, we hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had fun. We have to get some shut-eye, or we're going to be really hungover tomorrow. And until next time, you can hook up with us on social media. Find us on YouTube, Instagram, and on Facebook at The Almost Tomorrow Show. Till next time, don't let your meatloaf